I'm Tamis, and I'm Miss Florida International America with Don Reese and Hollywood Connections. Today I'm here with Jackie Arredondo. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Tamis. How are you?
I'm doing good, and you?
I'm great, thank you.
So, you're a singer, a songwriter, an actress, and also a vocal instructor.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in a family of actors, comedic actors, actually. My grandfather was a very famous comedian by the name of Enrique Arredondo, and he was better known by Bernabé. And this was in Cuba, obviously. And I couldn't get really away from the entertainment industry because I was always surrounded by actors. My mother was an actress. Even when she came to the States, she was an actress. So I was basically born in this business.
That's a nice story. And as a vocal instructor, you have worked at Telemundo, Univision. How was that experience for you?
Telemundo was actually, I think that the most exciting time, one of the most exciting times of my life, because it was when I got the chance to instruct the first reality television competition for the Hispanic networks in the United States. There was American Idol, but there were no competitions in Spanish. So I basically was the pioneer instructor, and I paved the way for the rest of the instructors that are instructing today for reality television. That show was called Protagonistas de la Música, and it was actually the first one. And after that came another and another and another and another, until I actually made enough noise that Univision came looking for me, and to be offered a place in such an important variety show as Sábado Gigante, for me was the peak of my career.
That's nice. Gotta make your way through.
That's right.
And as a vocal instructor, as teaching all the students you have, how is it like the most challenging thing that you have encountered?
The most challenging thing I have encountered must be when I trained for Sábado Gigante, a competition that is called Ídolos de la Canción. It's basically sound alike, look alike. So you have to sound like a famous artist and look like that artist. So for me, it's like training two people at the same time. I have to be very careful that the actual person does not come out in the imitation, and I have to take care of the imitation that it stays within all the characteristics of the sound quality, of the corporal expression, if they have facial expressions when they sing, any habits that famous artist has. So, it's like training two people at the same time. It's very gratifying.
That's great. And you're also a singer, and you like to sing country music. What made you fall in love with country music?
Well, what made me fall in love with country music was the road. I was a truck driver. I would drive an 18-wheeler, and the road got very, very lonely at times. And the only thing that actually was on the radio was country music. Once you leave the state of Florida, or not even have left the state of Florida, a little bit closer to the end of Florida, the radio would turn into an audiobook for me. And to be exposed to a genre where you can listen to real stories, it was like an audiobook. And the reality of it was that I was Latina. I lived on the East Coast. I had no money, no resources, no contacts. So it was a very far away dream for me until I started doing rancheras. When I started doing rancheras, I was doing a concert in El Salvador. And there was a gentleman that approached me and asked me if I like country music. And I was like, is this a trick question or what? And he gave me his card. I contacted him. And because of that, man, I got to record in Nashville. I got to record with, great songwriters as Brian White is. I got to be exposed to a lot of events and a lot of people that I would have never thought that I would even come across with back then when I used to drive that truck. It was a little bit surreal, but that's how I got to country music.
It was meant to be, to meet him and all the stuff that happened.
Well, I think it was meant to be to meet him,
Mhm.
but I met him doing my first EP in Nashville. The producer wanted some songs from Brian White, and he says, you know, come with me. Let me just pick these songs up, and then we'll head to the studio. And I met him, and I heard his songs, and I fell in love with the songs. But the reality was that I was already doing an EP. There was no more money to do another EP, and I remember that producer, he wrote Brian's number on a napkin, and once he recorded it on his phone, he threw away the napkin. So, you know, I asked for forgiveness from the Lord and took that napkin. And technically, it was not theft. It was, I picked up something that was thrown away. So I picked up that napkin, and I couldn't call him for about 2 years, because that's when I was ready to record my second EP. And I held on to that napkin, I put it in a book, and it was all like iron. And when I was ready, I called him, and we did Just Call Me Jackie.
Wow. It was like you were there at the right moment, and the napkin was just thrown in the trash. So, and also, in your music, who or what inspires you as a singer?
I was very much inspired back then while I was driving that truck with Shania Twain. She actually paved the way for other country artists to cross over from country to pop, at least be aired in the pop radio stations. Then came Faith Hill, and you know, then came others, and soon enough we had enough country singers airing in the radio stations. I was very impacted by the voices of Rascal Flatts, which is really my favorite group. I find that when a man can do those runs and do those vocal gymnastics, just as we as women are taught to do, not many men sing that way. And for me, it was, wow, it was just something very, very unbelievable to hear. And hopefully someday I'll get to collaborate with them and make enough noise to maybe have them pay a little bit of attention to this little old me. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, and I pray.
Hopefully. Because you also did two songs from their version, Despiértame, and you're also working on a tribute to them.
Yes, Despiértame is the Spanish rendition of Come Wake Me Up. I am also in the process of finishing the tribute in Spanish from their greatest hits, at least some of them, not all of them, but some of them. I want to do at least a 6-pack EP with their songs in Spanish, and hopefully that's what's going to make enough noise for them to say, you know what, come up here and come sing a song with us. So I'm just, you know, I'm praying to God that happens someday.
Well, we can't wait to hear, and we hope you make a lot of noise to call their attention. Oh, and you also been to the CMA Music Fest. How was it like for you?
Very tiring and very hot. It's in the month of June normally, and Nashville gets very hot in that month. You don't stop. It's interview from interview to interview, from interview to interview, and you just don't have one moment. But CMA Fest is very special because that is the event, the only event in the world where country artists, or where artists go and they don't charge anything. They're just there for the fans. It used to be called Fan Fest, and then they changed it to CMA Fest. But, you know, these artists are there for 3 to 5 days, just signing autographs. Sometimes an artist will not get up from the chair for 11 hours, and they do it all for the fans. All the performances are free. It's all for the fans, not to get any profits or anything, or just make money off of your performance. Everybody plans and waits with open arms CMA Fest, from the most unknown singer trying to get in to the most known country singer awaits that week, because it's where we say thank you to the fans for supporting our music and supporting our work.
Oh, that's really nice of all the singers that does it, and for you doing that too. And also, as a songwriter, how do you get inspired by writing songs?
Depends. Sometimes I get inspired about from a life experience, sometimes from a friend's life experience, sometimes maybe a movie. It all depends, or just something you want to talk about. You just think of a title, or think of a subject, or a story line, and go from there.
Wow, that's really nice. And also, as an actress that you did some acting, how was it like for the experience that you had?
I mean, I haven't acted too much. I made my debut doing a very morbid show as a child. It was a Christmas show, and then at the end of the show, I had no dialogue. I had one scene, and at the end of the scene, we were all together, all the children, and there was this man who came in with a shotgun and shot all of us, and we were dead. So I don't know who wrote this play, but it was kind of morbid. And life took me through other paths in the music career. So I didn't do much acting until this year. In the beginning of the year, I wanted to do a tribute to my grandfather in one of his original plays, and I wanted to act with my dad. One of his specific works, and it was very emotional because my grandfather never saw me sing. And it was like, you know, if you're here, you know, this is for you. And I got to act with my dad, which was really special. I mean, we had collaborated in a lot of shows, but separately. You know, he would act, or I would sing, or I would be the presenter, and then he would be something else. But we had never really had characters in a play. And for us to do that with one of my grandfather's plays was historical and was very touching.
So that I did get to act with your father. Well, if someone wants to get in contact with you, to hire you to sing or as a vocal coach, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, we're in Miami, Florida. We also do lessons through Skype or FaceTime if you're away, or if you're in another country, or in another state. But if you're in Miami, or you just want to get information, you can go to my website, www.Jackie Arredondo, it's ARREDONDO.com, JackieArredondo.com. Facebook is Jackie Arredondo Country or Jackie Arredondo Music. And our phone number here in Miami is 305-433-0473. So if anybody wants just information, doesn't matter, or just to say hello, my phones and my door to my academy are welcome for you.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Would you like to add anything else, or you have any comments?
Well, I always end with a little advice to all these aspiring artists. Doesn't matter if you're an actor, if you want to do journalism, if you want to be a show host, an anchor, a singer, a musician. I think that statistically, out of 100 doors that you knock, one has to open. So don't give up and go for it. Just keep on knocking on those doors, and you'll get your dream come true. But if you don't give up, that will happen. Only if we give up is when we start to shut the doors in our way of our goals. So go for your goal, go for your dream, and good luck.
Well, thank you so much. I wish you a lot of luck in your career and everything that you do, and thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Tamis.
This has been for Reese and Hollywood Connections.